Hey everyone, very good morning. So today we'll be starting this schedulable Apex. This is a relatively very small and easy topic, and we will try to cover the topic as well as the interview question of this topic. So I have also opened the sheet where we have questions on schedulable Apex. We will cover all the questions along with some of the theory we have in this particular topic. Okay, so let me open the developer console. Schedulable Apex is the third asynchronous option we have along with future method and Qubable Apex. This has a very specific use case, and whenever we want to schedule something for a particular time and date, then we use this in order to achieve. Let's say sometimes we'll have to do certain activity every week or certain activity every month. Then we can create a schedulable Apex class to do such kind of activities, and we can then put a timeline on it. Like I have to do it something at around, let's say, 12 p.m. Every 15th of the month. Like on the 15th of every month, I'll have to do an activity at 12 p.m. So such kind of activity should not be done manually. Such kind of activity should be done via the schedulable Apex class, where we will create an schedulable Apex class like this. This is our schedulable Apex class. It has to implement this schedulable interface, and then because of this schedulable interface, we'll have to use this execute method, and whatever we want to do, we can do inside it. Okay, and this execute method will take the schedulable context as a parameter. This obviously will contain the job ID of it. Pretty much what we used to do in the Qubable Apex, same applies here, but the only difference is that how to actually schedule a job. In order to actually run a Qubable Apex job, we can go to async anonymous window and enqueue it. But for this, we'll have to do things bit differently. Okay, so it will ask you to uh, how you can most of the time in interview they ask this question, how you can schedule a particular schedulable job. Okay, so there are two options available. One is via the UI and one is via the code. Okay, so we will see both the options. Okay, first let me see. Okay, because we have these jobs already pending in progress, this is giving us error. So let me abort those first. Okay, and then we will see how we can schedule a job. Let me delete, and this is how you can delete a already scheduled job via the UI. Okay, if a job is already scheduled and has not been processed yet, you will not be able to make changes on that scheduled class. Okay, this also is an interview question. Now let me try to save it. Because I have deleted all those jobs, now I'll be able to edit this class. Okay, so this is one interview question. If job is already in progress, then you will not be able to edit the Apex class. Okay, now I told you that this takes a cron expression in consideration, and with the help of that cron expression, we kind of set it for a particular date or time or month, whatever we want to, right? So first, let us see how we can schedule a schedulable class via the UI. Okay, so we have this class sample schedulable. From setup, you will have to write Apex classes. You will go to Apex classes and you will see all the classes you have. So where is our class? Sample schedulable. This is our class, right? Now here you will see one option called Schedule Apex. You will click on it, and here you can name it anything. My first schedulable class. and you'll have to then search for your Apex class. This will only give you the list of Apex classes which have implemented this schedulable interface. Okay. The only classes which will be treated as a schedulable class will be the classes who have implemented the schedulable interface. These are the two classes who have this interface. I will select the first one. Sorry. I will select the first one. I will select the first one, and then you will get an option to select the frequency of it and when do you want to run this. Okay, now here we have two options. One is weekly, the other one is monthly. If I have to do a job which should run every week, then we will select weekly, and then inside weekly we will have multiple options. If you want to run it daily, then we will select all days. If you want to select or want to run it only on the working days, we will exclude Saturday and Sunday, and so on. If I select monthly, then it will give us other options like on which date we want to run it. So I want to run it on 5th of every month, and then there are a couple of other options as well. Okay, so depending on when you want to run it, you can select here. See, the main purpose of using this schedulable Apex is to do the timely activities. Like if I have to do cleanup of users every month, like on the every 29th of every week or 28th of every week, I'll have to do user cleanup. I have to deactivate the user who have not used Salesforce for 30 days, for last 30 days. Then we can create a class, a batch class, and then that can be scheduled here. Most of the time in your project, you will be using schedulable Apex along with batch Apex. Okay, because whenever we want to schedule something, most of the time it is bulk of the data. Okay, and then we create a batch Apex class and then schedule that batch Apex class. Okay, we will see that also happening, but you can also schedule normal classes as well, but use cases will be very less. Most of the time you will be using batch Apex, and then we'll be scheduling those batch Apex class to do the timely activities or to put a time frame on your activity. Okay, we create batch classes and then we run those batch classes daily, then we run those batch classes weekly, we run those batch classes monthly, but very rarely you will create a normal schedulable Apex class and schedule it, because most of the time the requirement will come in a way that you will have to perform that operation on bulk of the data, and then you will be combining batch Apex and schedulable Apex in a real project. Okay, but from the interview point of view, they can ask you whether you can schedule a batch or a normal classes. So you can do both, like a normal classes as well. You write a normal class. Like here we have a class. If I want to create an account here, I can write account, my account, new account, and you can here give name equals to whatever, test account, and then insert my. When you will schedule this on a particular date or time, a new account will get created. So it's not like you will always be only scheduling batch Apex, but most of the time in a real project, you will be scheduling the batch Apex class. And I will show you the practical schedulable classes. Okay, don't worry. So where was I? I was showing you this. So here you will have to give it a name, and then you will have to select the Apex class which you want to schedule, and then you will have to select the frequency. Then here is will be the start date and then end date and preferred start time. Okay, now let's say you selected 1 a.m. You will be scheduling your job at 1 a.m. Okay, and start date is 27th, and usually you will select because you will have to schedule it every week or every month. Your end date should be long enough. So you can select 20, let's say 2029, and Save this. So now this batch class, sorry, this schedulable class will be scheduled on. Now, if you go to the jobs, see, my first schedule has been scheduled for submitted on this date, and next schedule run is on this Wednesday, coming Wednesday. Why we use batch epics for cleanup activity? Also, we can use normal process. Yeah, most of the time when we'll have to do cleanup, that is on the bulk of the data. So for those bulk of the data, we want to utilize the advantage of batch epics or the functionalities available in the batch epics. That is why we use batch epics for most of the cleanup activity, because we are never sure about how much data we will be getting. And if we do not use batch epics, there is a possibility that we might get a lot of data and our normal classes might not be able to process that much amount of data, or we may have problems of governor limits, hitting governor limits and all with the normal classes. That is why we use batch epics for the cleanup of activity, so that we are safe from the bulk of data situations. Okay, Jay? All right, so this is the first way of scheduling your batch Apex job. Okay, now I will be using the anonymous window to schedule it. Okay, so for anonymous window, as we know, we'll have to create a cron expression. So first I will create a random cron expression. I will explain that to you just after this. Okay, I first want to cover the schedulable part, and then I will explain the cron expression. Same cron expression. Let's use 6. Okay, it takes 6 or 7 parameters. Seventh one is optional, and I will explain you each of these. And then I will have to create the instance of my class. My choose. Okay, that's how I created the instance of the class, and then I will use system.schedule. Here, it takes 3 parameters. As I've explained earlier, it takes 3 parameters. First will be the name of it, the name which we provided here, my first schedule. Similarly, you will have to provide name. Let's call it my second schedule. Then the second parameter will be the cron expression. And then the last parameter will be the instance you have created for your schedulable class. Okay. Now this cron expression tells your compiler to when to actually run this. Okay. So I will just submit it. Support for, we have a lot of sites to create cron expression. This is the cron expression site. I just wanted to use the normal one. Let's see. Okay, guys, just a second. Okay. Now, our bad job must be scheduled. If I refresh this, here my second job is also available, and you can see that next run is just 6 minutes away. Like it will be scheduled at 9 a.m. Okay, so now what interview question I was trying to address here is that what are the different ways you can schedule your schedulable class? There are two ways. One is via UI, one is via the backend. Via UI, you'll have to go to Apex classes and then search for schedulable classes. You will get a UI like window, and from there you can select it monthly or weekly and then date and then time, and your job will be scheduled. The other way is you select it via the backend by providing a cron expression. Okay, see, most of the time you will not have the complex criteria to set it. Like it will not be like you'll have to set it at 9:25 a.m. every morning. Most of the time you will get flexibility around when do you want to schedule that particular job. What we in a project remember is that we try to schedule something at a time when our resources are highly available. Like let's say if our working time is 9 to 5, then we will try to set it between, let's say, 6 a.m., somewhere when users are actually not working in a system and most of the resources are free, so that our bad job or schedulable job will be able to process successfully without much of the hiccups. Okay, so that is what you need to remember. And which one is obviously easier is obviously from the UI. It is easier to schedule, and even admins can try to change it, manipulate it, or whatever they want to do. From the back end, obviously it is a developer's job. You'll have to understand the cron expressions in order to do that. Okay, so now we will understand the cron expression first. Okay, all right. We have a question in the sheet which talks more about the cron expression. What is cron expression? Cron expression is used to define the scheduling time. It has 6 to 7 inputs. So we selected this. Let's show you this one. It has 6 parameters. This one is for second. This one is for minute. This one is for hour. Okay. And then we have day of the month, then which month, then day of the week, and then last one is optionally year. Okay. So second, minute, hour. Hour means 9. 9 means this takes 24 hours as an input. So 9 means 9 a.m. Okay. And then this is day of the week. If I'm providing asterisk, that means every day. Every day it should run at 9 a.m. every month. This is for month, and this is for the day of the week. Like every day of every week it should run at 9 a.m. So always remember, this is second, minute, hour, day of the month, day of the week, and year, something like that. I have written it here, so you can practice it a lot from here. Second, minute, hours, day of the month, day of the week, and optional year. And these are the values you can use in it. Okay, abstract means all values, and question marks also means no value. That means you can use all values in it. Okay, and then you can specify a couple of values or ranges as well. Like for the week, you can write Monday to Friday instead of writing. If you want to only run it from Monday to Friday, want to exclude the Saturday, Sundays, then for the day of week, you can write Monday to Friday like this instead of ranges. Okay. So cron expression, you will have to practice. Most of the time you will not get interviewers saying, can you write a cron expression for this and that? Can you write a cron expression to run a job every 30 minutes? But sometimes you may get an interviewer who may try to trick you around the cron expression as well. So for Cron expression, there are so many sites available. You can practice Cron expressions, and then you will be able to get a lot of data around it. So I will be sending these sites. You can just try to practice one day on this, and then you should be good. But always remember, in projects, we do not get very strict cron expression. Like they never ask you to run something on this particular second or this particular time. You will have a flexibility. All you need to remember is that you run your jobs, you run your asynchronous job or schedulable jobs at a time when resources are available. Let's say your user logs in at 7, and when you run a job at 7, then there might be possibility that resources are not available. Always remember, whatever timeline you set, like this is going to be submitted at 9 a.m. It is not necessary that it will execute at 9 a.m. It will be submitted at 9 a.m. And then when resources are available, then you will be, your job will be executed. Which time zone it follows? Yes, it follows the org time. It follows the org time. It follows the org time, guys. Okay, and this is one thing. What are the other asynchronous jobs it can call? It can call all. It can call future method. It can call Qubel Apex. It can call batch Apex. It can call another schedulable Apex as well. I want you guys to practice this on your own to see if you are able to call it or not. In fact, the main use case of this is to schedule the batch Apex classes. Okay. And sometimes you will see it like this. This is your batch Apex class. And inside this only, you will also implement the schedule, schedulable. So in a single Apex class, in a single batch Apex class, you will also use the schedulable class. Let me delete the jobs. Yeah, one more important thing is that when you submit a job via the UI, you get a manage option. You can change it. You can change it as well, or you can manage it as well. But when you submit it via backend, you only get an option to delete it. So if you'll have to change or something, or you'll have to abort it, first delete it and then change it and then resubmit it. But if you submitted it from the UI, you will have an option to manage it from the UI itself and change the schedule of it if you want to before it gets executed. Okay, so that manage option will only be available if you submit it via the UI. Okay, now let me try to save this. Now this should give me an error. I've already deleted.
So do we have to write the execute
Yep,
method for
yep, we will
schedulable?
write. We will write. First, I want to remove these cron related errors.
Okay.
We'll have to write the execute method for a schedulable interface. Now you will start getting the error message that you will have to implement the schedulable.execute, like execute method for the schedulable interface. Is it possible to call? As far as I know, we cannot. Now we will see that. This is not a you. I mean, we never call the schedulable Apex from a trigger, but we will see that. Public void execute. And this time, this execute method will take schedulable context as input. Okay, and we will save it. So you will see two types of developer. One who will create a batch epic separately and a schedulable class separately, and then execute the, or you can say schedule the batch epics from the schedulable class. But then you will also see few developers who are doing it in a single class, because it is allowed, you can do it in a single class as well. And you can execute your batch from here itself, right? Like you will create the instance of it, my batch, and then you can obviously use database dot execute batch. Now it is on you if you want to up. Now if you will try to execute it via the UI, let me just save this and see if you are able to get it in the Apex classes. Because we have used the schedulable interface, we have implemented that interface. If we try to check in the schedulable Apex class, we should get it. Batch. Now you can see your sample batch class is also available here. Let's say I want to run it on every Wednesday for a month. Okay. If there is any preferred start time, then you can select it and save this. Now, if you go to jobs, see your batch job is available here. Okay. If you go to Apex job, your batch job is available here. And now whatever delete jobs you deleted in this schedulable will come as a aborted jobs here. Okay, you can see you have deleted these. So you can also schedule your batch Apex class. In fact, this is what you will be doing mostly in your org. Like in the batch Apex class, you will have this schedulable interface as well, and then you will be able to execute that. Okay. So this is one way of executing your batch Apex classes as well. You can pretty much create a new schedulable class and write the execute method, and inside that also you can do this. Okay. Earlier people used to do it like that only, but if it is possible in the same class, why to do that? In fact, you can also use the queuable interface as well. So an interview question is, can we use all three batchable, schedulable, and queuable interface in a single Apex class? And answer is yes, we can do that. Okay. Because in Apex, we can use multiple interfaces with a class. That's the way we use the multiple inheritance, because multiple inheritance is not directly allowed here. We can use the multiple interfaces. If you use it, obviously you will have to provide the execute method for the queuable class, and you will be able to use it in a single class itself. I'm not going to change it anyway. Now, there are a couple of important questions. Let's go through them as well. Okay. What are the prerequisites of Apex scheduler? The prerequisite is that you'll have to use this schedulable interface. Okay. And obviously you'll have to have necessary permissions to execute the Apex class. If you will not use this schedulable interface, then nothing will work. Okay. What is the schedulable context? It is the parameter which is taken by the execute method of the schedulable class. It contains the job ID. You can say it contains the information related to the execution of job, like job name, job ID, and schedule execution time. Okay. It is passed as an argument to execute method. We will see it how this job ID gets us the value. Don't worry. Okay. How can I schedule an Apex class? We saw it practically from the UI as well as from the anonymous window. What is cron expression? This is something on which you guys need to practice. But remember that it starts from the lowest: second, minutes, hours, day of the month, and day of the week, and then optional year. If you want to provide year as well, otherwise it will not take year and it will do it on every year. Okay. What async processes I can schedule? You can schedule batch apex, you can schedule future method, you can schedule queuable apex. Okay, so you can call all three from the schedulable Apex, but remember, in a real project, you will only be using batch Apex because that is the generic use case to schedule something. When we'll have to do some bulk data, I want to schedule it on a particular off timing hours so that our real users, business users will not get impacted and there will not be any resource crunch at that time. Okay. Maximum how many jobs can be scheduled at any point of time. Okay, you can only have 100 scheduled apex job at one time. Okay, and you can verify the count of it by this query. We will run this query. So if you are not sure how many batch apex job we are running and all, you can obviously query it by this query. And let me query it. Okay. Currently, we have only one job, which is schedule. Okay. See, there are two objects. One is cron trigger and one is cron job details. Okay. And cron trigger gives you information about the jobs you have scheduled. Okay. There is one question as well. Cron trigger object versus cron job detail object. Okay. If you see the answer of this, cron trigger contains information for a scheduled job. Cron job details contain the details about the associated schedule job. Okay, so see, understand this. Cron trigger gives you information about the schedule jobs in your system, whereas cron job details tells you the inner details of a particular type of job. Okay, so cron job details work in the inner context of it, versus cron trigger is nothing but the high level of it, will tell you how many schedule jobs you have. But what type of job it is, what was the name of it, what was the scheduled time of it, that you can get via the cron job detail object. So there are two objects you query. Here also, if you see, this 7, job type 7 means schedulable apex. Okay. So it basically queried from the cron trigger, like what are the different types of, what are the schedulable types of job you have in total, which is scheduled. That is currently 1. Okay. And we will query, don't worry. We will query more. There are a couple of other queries we will be doing. Okay.
Mohit, can you repeat what is that 7 number? What it is used for?
Seven is to 7 basically annotates to a job type 7 means it is a schedulable apex. Job type 7 represents the schedulable apex. Okay. In the cron trigger context, job type 7 basically represents the schedulable apex. There could be multiple different types of jobs like the bulk data load job, like the backend analytics job. There are different types of job available, but if you'll have to find the schedulable apex type of job, then job type 7 represents that. Okay. If you remove this, Now here you will be able to see job details dot job type. Job details dot date. Okay, so see here you see the job type 7 says the name of job is my batch class schedule. This is basically a schedule job where you are scheduling your batch Apex class. This job type K annotates to Metalytics data loader job. This is some data loader job running in the backend. So there are multiple types of jobs available in the system, and job type 7 represents the schedulable jobs. Okay, clear guys?
Yes, yes.
Perfect. Now, see, we can schedule 100 schedulable jobs at a time. Okay, not more than that. If we try to do that, then we will get the error. This error, system.async exception, you have exceeded the maximum number of 100 of Apex schedule job. Okay, this is the error we will start getting if we try to schedule more than 100 jobs in a transaction. Okay, let's go one by one, all the question. How can you stop the execution of a job that has already been scheduled? To stop the execution of a job that has been scheduled, use system.abort job with the ID returned by the get triggered method. Okay. See, there are two ways. One is you go to the scheduled jobs and delete it. Okay. The other is you go to anonymous window and use the system.abort method. System.abort job and pass the job ID. Once you get the job ID, you pass the job ID and then that will abort your job. Okay. So whatever job we have, do we have the job ID here? Job ID we can get from Apex job, right? Okay. So this is our job ID. Okay. We go to anonymous window, system.abort job, and then pass the job ID. Let's see. And then we will execute this. We got to okay, this is ASYNC Apex already. We need to get the Cron trigger ID. Okay, don't worry. We will also get that. Okay, no problem. This is the job. This is the job ID. Let's try this. Yeah. Now we should be able to abort this. So if I now go and refresh this, see, this is not aborted. Okay, this is Apex job ID, whereas what we need to get is this particular ID, cron trigger ID. Okay, so if you get that, then you will be able to abort the job as well. Okay. Now, see, these are important questions if interviewer is also aware about these concepts, most of the time they never go this deep in this schedulable apex concept, because they never needed, we hardly need to abort any job, or even if we need to, we go to UI and abort it. We don't go it via backend and fetch the job ID and then abort it. So that is why this, they never ask these type of questions in interview. Most ask question in asynchronous, the schedulable apex, how different ways you can schedule a job. Can you call batch apex from schedulable? Those type of question. What is cron expression? How do you create a cron expression? And what are the different types of parameter you pass to the execute method of schedulable apex? But because we are going through this topic, we'll have to do everything. That is why we are doing this. How to monitor a scheduled job. Okay. After an Apex job has been scheduled, you can obtain more information about it by running a sample query on cron trigger. That's what we did here, right? We did a query on cron trigger to get the count of it. You can get more detail about it as well. Okay. Now we have obviously aborted everything, so it should not give us anything, but let us then try to schedule job. Otherwise, we will not get anything. Mhm. So Apex class, we have to go to Apex class and schedule a class, okay? So that we can query it. This is relatively an easy topic, guys, so don't take much burden on it, but just go through it. I want you guys to have a confidence that any question may come in this topic, you will be able to answer it. Okay. Okay. Now that we have scheduled something, if I try to run this in the developer console, maybe developer console. And execute this. See, you will get the details about it. If you want to get more, you will be able to get it in a query and do the query, get the result of it to want to see and monitor the status and every other thing as well. You will be able to query it. That's what I wanted to show you. And then whatever things you want to get the name of it, status of it, you will be able to do that with the help of the ID you receive. Okay. So that's how you monitor the schedule jobs. You can obviously also monitor it from the UI. You go to the Apex jobs and then you will be able to see the status of it. When is the next schedule run? When it was submitted for it? What is the current status of it? You can do it from the UI as well. But when we go for a Salesforce developer interview, they ask it from the backend point of view as well, like which object you will be using. So you need to remember that we will have the cron trigger and cron job details. These are the two major objects we use here. Okay, cron job details contain information about a particular job, the inner details of a particular job we get inside the cron job details. So you can say cron trigger is an outer object, and inside that there is a cron job detail object which contains the inner information about that particular job. That's how you explain it, and that is a very important interview question. If your interviewer is somebody who has recently worked on asynchronous apex and schedulable apex, he may ask these inner things, and these are the things which most of the people fail to answer because they have never practiced this much in this particular topic, because it is obviously an easier topic and there are very few question comes from this topic, so they never focus on these kind of topics. But you will Obviously, you have all the questions. You will practice them on your own as well. Right, guys? Any doubt in this till now? What happened, guys? Are you all
Okay.
okay? See, this is a kind of topic which I want to have to be your strong zone. You should feel that if any question come from this particular topic, or if, for that matter of fact, any asynchronous apex topic should be your strong zone, because this is easy. There are limited number of questions in asynchronous apex, and you should be able to answer all of them. You should score maximum marks out of it, because we have covered everything in this topic, whatever questions may come. Cron trigger object versus cron job details we have covered. Can you schedule multiple instances of a scheduled job at the same time? Yes, we can schedule multiple instances of a schedulable class, but we will have to provide the different name of it. Like if we try to execute the same name, then it will not allow us to. So we'll have to create the different name of it, and then we'll be able to schedule it. Okay. Can we call a normal Apex class from the schedulable Apex class? Yes, we can call it. And I want you guys to practice it. See if it is possible or not. So the question is, can we call, let's say there is a normal Apex class. Will you be able to call it from here? Yes, we will be able to call it. Okay. In the case of scheduled jobs, how exactly would I check whether I'm over the limit or not? You can check it by doing the query, where job type is equals to 7, and you will be able to see how many jobs you have already scheduled. Okay. How many unique instances of a class you can schedule at once? The same limit apply here, 100 at maximum. You can create if you have currently 0 scheduled jobs in your org, you can test by this yourself with following code. Yes, 100 is the limit. Can we edit the class if a job is already scheduled? No, you will not be able to edit the class if the job is already scheduled. You'll have to abort the job and then edit it, or you have to create another class. Is it possible to reschedule a job? Not possible with the same name. So see, if you have already scheduled a job and you want to reschedule it, okay. But if you have submitted it via the cron expression, then you will have no option but to delete it and reschedule it. But if you have done it via UI, you have that manage option. From there, you can manage it and change it. So let us see if that is possible. Schedule it, right? Okay, let's go to schedule. Let's go to manage and see here. Let's see if I want to change this to Friday. Manage is this then. Yeah, I only have option to cancel it and delete it. No, that means it is not possible to manage it. Then I don't know why this manage option is there if you only have option to delete it. Nope, it is not giving us any option to edit and save it. Like edit is possible, but then there is no option to save it. So which says that it is not possible to reschedule it. You'll have to delete it and then resubmit it with the latest schedule. Okay, understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Perfect. What are the best practices of
Yeah.
Schedulable Apex? You get this question a lot. And best practices, the common Apex best practices will also apply here, but along with that, you'll have to use that. If you are using to schedule something for the large data set, then you use batch epics and then you can schedule that. We have an advantage of combining schedulable epics and batch epics together. So try to take the advantage of batch epics here if the data set is large. Okay. And minimize the number of SOQL and DML. See, even though this is asynchronous Apex, you still have governor limits. You get extended governor limits, but it doesn't mean that there is no governor limit. So you will still take care of number of SOQL queries. There is no DML inside the loop. There is no query inside the loop and all such thing. Ultimately, you will have to figure out that you will have to make sure that you are not bypassing the governor limits. Okay. And can you pause or disable a schedulable job temporarily without modifying the code? If so, explain how you can accomplish this. Bash, bhaiya, bash. Now my son has also started still.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7, 8.
I am not sure about this question. It is saying that deactivate a scheduled job, go to Apex job and select Apex job. From the result, find the schedulable jobs you want to deactivate in the list. I don't see any deactivate option. What I see here is the let me schedule this.
Hello, Mohit.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you explain more on how can we handle errors while implementing schedulable class?
Error handling is common, like how you do it in the normal classes.
Try catch?
Yep.
Okay.
That you want to use here. Just a second. What error it is giving? This schedule class has jobs pending. Which job it has pending? Let's delete it. Mhm. Okay. This question I'm not sure. Deactivate. So let's see if it is possible. It says go to Apex class and select Apex job from the result. Find a schedulable job you want to deactivate in the list. Even if I'm able to find the job I want to deactivate in the list, there is no option to deactivate it, right? So I'm going to mark this as red for the further investigation. For now, I cannot say that you will be able to deactivate it. You will delete it and then you will reschedule it, but there is no option to deactivate it for a time being.
सर स्केड्यूल जॉब में एक मैनेज ऑप्शन था, देखा था.
हाँ, मैनेज ऑप्शन है उसमें, बट उसमें भी कुछ है नहीं. ये देखो ना. We have deleted and cancel it. Cancel will do nothing and delete will delete this schedule job. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So this is not a useful thing. I will recheck it, but for now you will say no, this is not possible. You will delete it, and then if you want to reschedule it, you will reschedule it. Okay. Can we use database.stateful in schedulable Apex? The majority of patches you will ever use in the database.stateful we use in the क्या कहते हैं batch Apex, not in the schedulable Apex. But if I try to use it in the schedulable Apex, database dot state full guide. This problem is that you have to delete it all the time. Yep. So you are able to use it. There is no error if you try to use database.stateful with the schedulable Apex as well. But remember that we use it mostly with the asynchronous with the batch Apex to have the state of every batch we have processed. This helps us whenever we get errors in our batches, and we'll have to store the field records for further processing or for the error catching or to send it via email. Whenever we want to have the data about, or whenever we want to have a report about what are the field record and everything, then we use database.stateful because it contains the state between different batches, and we will cover this when we cover the batch Apex. But if you try to use it in the schedulable Apex, then also you will be able to use it. You will not get any error. Okay. See, this is an interface. So interface, you are allowed to use multiple, but we do not normally use it in the schedulable Apex. Like I have never practically used it in any of the schedulable Apex. Okay. Now, these are the mostly questions. I want you all to go through these questions again on your free time and see if there is any question which you are not able to understand. Try to practically do it. Try to practically run this code and see what error you get, and try to practically count the number of scheduled jobs and everything. Whatever is written there, try to do practically. That will be better approach, and by that way you will be able to explain more in your interviews. Okay. Now I'll be stopping the recording.